Okay, so I'm going to try and not make this one too long, but I want to discuss it because I've just read the report and I want to keep it fresh in my mind. If I go and do something else, then I forget some of the details. And I think this is a very important issue. So, Gloria Steinem, I'm not so familiar with her. I believe she's a writer, something I don't really know. Gloria Steinem and Madeleine Albright, the former Secretary of State, have been in the news for all the wrong reasons because of their overzealous support for Hillary Clinton. Now, what they supposedly have said, Madeleine Albright said that there is a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. And Gloria Steinem has insinuated that women who are going to support Bernie Sanders, particularly young women, are doing so to find guys, basically as some sort of hitch up. Um, to be fair, she has apologized since then, but I think that we're going to see more of this as the campaign rolls on from other leading feminist women. Now, it's interesting to note these are older feminists, both women are in their 60s and 70s. So, I always took it to be third wave feminism that was very militant and very unreasonable. So I would have thought the older feminists would be a bit more mature. But their attitude pretty much sums up. And I know Gloria Steinem has apologized, but she didn't apologize to men, um, for this clearly sexist rant. Um, but basically, I think this sums up a very, very ugly side to modern feminism. And Hillary Clinton is making a big mistake by defending the comments, as she's supposedly done. If I were Hillary Clinton, I would want to distance myself from these comments. Why? Because for one thing, it's going to polarize half the nation. Um, and I think Hillary Clinton's campaign is going to get into serious trouble if it doesn't kind of rein in on these sort of extreme misandric, that's what they are, attitudes. It's a bit like when Obama was running, he very cleverly wanted to distance himself from more extreme black groups because naturally you don't want to polarize the rest of the population. Well, Hillary Clinton, um, there's a real risk that she's going to be complacent about this and think that she'll just win. And I think she's underestimating Bernie Sanders. Now, this is really a pity because as a centrist, I'm more ideologically aligned to Hillary. Leaving aside the feminism factor, okay, leaving that aside, in other areas I would be more aligned to Hillary. But I'm going to probably end up being sympathetic to Bernie Sanders and his campaign if this continues, because this feminist agenda that is increasingly encroaching into Hillary's campaign is going to put off a lot of male voters. I'm not saying everyone, of course, there's male feminists who will support her, but this sort of polarizing, divisive language is not going to help anyone. Madeleine Albright hasn't bothered to apologize. I mean, this attitude basically, if you're a woman, you have to vote for Hillary because she's a woman, is fundamentally sexist because it is putting someone's gender over their candidacy as a person, as a political position. And it goes to show feminists don't really give a damn about someone's ideology so long as they're female. And it makes me wonder, is Carly Fiorina going to find feminists backing her campaign as well solely because she's a woman? I personally think if you vote for someone because of something that's beyond their control, i.e., their gender or their ethnicity, then it's not for me to tell other people how to vote. But I think if that's how you vote, it's very sad, um, because it shows an incredible shallowness. I mean, as someone pointed out, Bernie will arguably do a lot more for women because he is much more a social democrat than Hillary is. So he's going to campaign more for working class women, poorer women. I don't know the campaigns inside out, but certainly I think there could be a compelling argument for that because Hillary is more closely connected to big Wall Street, big business, basically. Um, so arguably the Sanders campaign is going to do more for young women. But feminists just, when they come out with stuff like this, And we've seen it in the UK as well. There was a Birmingham MP, Jess Phillips, who basically said, don't vote for Jeremy Corbyn as Labour leader, or he shouldn't be Labour leader because he's a white male. It doesn't matter the fact that he's hard left and he's about as socialist as it is possible to be, and I'm sure he would call himself a feminist. No, no, that doesn't matter. He's a white male, so don't vote for him. And I really think feminists need to be called out for this bigotry because that's what it is. You can imagine if anyone else was saying something like this. If you had a black candidate saying black people should vote for me because I'm black, if you had a male candidate saying women shouldn't run for office, there would be an outcry. He would be crucified by the media. So, and I'm disappointed that Hillary has basically endorsed what these two have said. She should be distancing herself from that. And it makes me very disappointed because I know Hillary has a reputation as a feminist, but I actually always got the impression that she was sort of a moderate feminist. Why? Because being as high profile as she is, I perhaps naively thought she couldn't have got the sort of levels that she has, if she was really that polarizing, because she does have a lot of male supporters. But I honestly believe if I was an American guy, I would feel pretty pissed off because I would be thinking, well, wait a second, you're saying that Sanders shouldn't be president because he's a man? For goodness sake, if you're going against Sanders, then do it on policy, nothing else. Not because he's old, not because he's Jewish, not because he's a man, not because he's white. Those are all phony reasons because they're all things beyond his control. I mean, it would be exactly the same if a man was saying he's not going to vote for Hillary because she's a woman. That would be called sexist. And it is. So why is it okay to make sexist statements against male candidates? Maybe Madeleine Albright, because she's retired, she's sort of thinking she can say whatever she wants. But I believe that will hurt Hillary's campaign. And I believe it needs to be called out. Um, it's just disgraceful that that sort of attitude can be tolerated because it's somehow seen as progressive, which it's not. As for the attitude to women, I think, again, it highlights a fundamental ugliness in modern feminism that is incredibly condescending to women, basically bullying them into labeling themselves as feminists. This is why groups like Women Against Feminism began, because I think a lot of women are fed up of feminists arrogantly saying that they represent all women. And if you don't agree with them, then you're a foolish young girl who doesn't know any better, or you're subservient to men. That's incredibly condescending. I mean, Madeleine Albright, that's a disgraceful comment to make from a former Secretary of State. Disgraceful to say you're going to go to hell if you don't vote for a certain candidate. That's abhorrent, quite frankly. Um, and, I'm not that surprised. I did expect in this campaign it would attract hardcore feminists. I haven't heard much about Madeleine Albright for a long time, and then she comes out with this very ugly statement. I hope she apologizes, but I hope she does so on principle because she recognizes that she's wrong, not just that she feels pressure to. I don't think people should apologize due to media pressure, but I do think it exposes something. It exposes a very, very ugly side to modern feminism, and this is why it is so controversial, and this is why feminists just can't get into their small minds that this is exactly the sort of thing that make people so pissed off at modern feminism. And no, not just men. Many women are fed up with it. Many women are fed up with being told how they should think and who they should vote for. And the irony is incredible because the whole point of feminism is supposed to be women's free choice. I mean, suffragettes sacrificed and campaigned and struggled to give women free choice. They didn't campaign and struggle to say women have to vote for other women. So it's just really a great pity that it's happening this way. And I'm not surprised, but I think it's really, really unfortunate. And if Hillary doesn't rein in on this, and if she doesn't start to say that she's going to represent all Americans, not just women, Um, and if she doesn't distance herself from these sort of extreme statements, then she's going to end up the Donald Trump of the Democrats. What I mean by that is she's going to end up a very divisive figure. Now, Sanders has run a very civil campaign overall. I know there's been a few jibes here and there, but nothing compared to some of the things that are coming from the Hillary side. She needs to rein in on that and start taking responsibility. I have to say, I'm very disappointed by her so far. And you know what? If this continues, then Sanders deserves to get the nomination. And Hillary will be entirely responsible because she hasn't reined in on the extremists who are supporting her. And as far as I'm concerned, these are extreme views. It's complete and utter disgrace.